All right, hello everyone. Hope everyone is doing great. This is the sort of 7 month video, and I'm going to talk about sort of my reflections on learning languages and learning Korean specifically, and why I think I will probably start learning another language, which may be Chinese. And I'm going to go over 4 reasons why I've kind of given this quite a bit of thought on recently traveling in Taiwan and then Hawaii actually. And the funny thing is, Korea had about 100 cases of the new coronavirus before I left, and just coming back, there's over 3,000. Which, I mean, they were all wearing masks, and clearly it didn't work. You can see my prior video on that before it even happened. But so quickly, so let's talk about the few reasons and why I kind of am leading this way. So this is actually going to be probably in the order of greatest to lowest reason, in fact. So first one I would say is lack of interesting content. So this has been an issue, and even Steve Kaufman brought this up when he was learning Korean. This is written content, this is movies and shows, and I mean, it could be a cultural thing. It could be the fact that, I mean, a lot of the interesting shows are actually like copies of American or Japanese shows. But even that, in and of itself, there's very few literary or art sort of works in that came out of Korea that are going to be worldwide known. Or another way to say that is, even my dad, he visited Korea and he's like, yeah, like where the famous like composers or something like that, or writers that are known the world over in Korea. I mean, there's tons coming from Japan and throughout the years, and there's zero from Korea. So all we have in Korea is a bunch of textbooks or a bunch of novels that are just translated from the other ones into Korean. Okay, well, where are the original ones? I mean, you have like, I mean, in Japan you have like authors that basically you have to read it in the original Japanese. You have, Dostoevsky and Tolstoy in Russian, where you would want to read it in the original. So just that's just one example, not even counting the fact that just searching around the kind of movies and shows, they're just sort of not as good as other things. So that is kind of the main reason. And I mean, you could push through it. And the funny thing is, the people that actually did learn Korean to a higher level, they just, I mean, the YouTubers and the folks that I know, they were living in Korea 10 years, and they had a Korean spouse, and they had a big interest in that, and they just kind of took their time, and then eventually you could just find some interesting stuff when you're at a higher level. So I'll put that one away for now. So the number two reason would have to be just practicality. So I mean, you look at Chinese is the number two economy, and Japanese is still the number three economy. So look up any top 10 list of languages to learn, and I mean, Chinese and Japanese are in the top five or top eight. With there's just no question. Korean never appears in those lists. So that's, I mean, it's sort of a reason. I mean, it's like, well, yeah, you're not going to do it for the thing, but then you have to look at demographics. You have to look at. I'm not saying that you have to have a monetary investment about this. That there's no. It's not even that. It's just practicality and where the language is going. So they say that maybe there's an influx in more people learning Japanese and Korean, and maybe Korean is more. But how many of those people have actually achieved a high level in Korean? So just dabbling in a language is a different story, and I would argue that when you take that into account, the people learning Japanese to a high level can maybe a lot more, and there's a lot of reasons for that. So that's the second reason. Third reason is just sort of a personal observation and living here and knowing the culture even before from staying in Hawaii, is there's just this tendency for things that I don't like, and there's a lot of videos on YouTube basically talking about mostly women make these videos. Oh, they're too superficial, the plastic surgery culture, the fact that they don't like foreigners. I'm not even here to tell you any of that, because that actually doesn't bother me. The thing that bothers me is the culture of basically there's a tendency to like a litigation, to try to sue or threaten to sue someone at the drop of a hat. Like, I've had people on the phone and they say, "Oh, should I be recording this?" And Koreans are taught to, even on a fender bender, to immediately say, "Oh, I have pain," and they will. I've heard this from Koreans. and not only my own experience, they're basically they go to a hospital and they get medical care. That's insurance fraud, and they're taught to do this. And like this is something that like the honor of somebody, for example, like Japanese, they're just not gonna do it. And if they do, it's gonna be at a like you'll have almost 100% of Koreans doing this, whereas someone else, there's always cases, right? So this is a generalization, and we generalize as humans, I think. So, so that's kind of there's just this like this just off-putting and sort of like it's not like mean or coldness and all because I mean I have Korean friends and but like I'll say like the average person I meet from China, which there's a self-selection bias. Like if I'm meeting them, they probably know English, but just like I've traveled enough in Asia, and even living in Hawaii has a lot of real Asians, not Asian Americans, and like I would say the average Chinese person is nicer than like a upper tier level Korean person, and this is both guys and girls. So again, these are just generalities. So that's like I said, this is the third reason. So this is not my number one reason, but that's something that I just can't ignore. Like now living in Korea and something that I already knew, and like and I have so many examples of this, so it's not like an N of one at all. So it's just like. So like, why would I learn the language? Because it's a huge time commitment. If the overall culture is, I mean, some people might like it, and that's fine. And that's just one person's opinion. So that's the third reason. And the fourth reason is simply I like characters, and I like Chinese characters, and Korea has eliminated them altogether. So. So I mean those are four and I just want to study them, and like even I was learning traditional characters when I knew they wouldn't really help in learning Korean until maybe at an advanced level, but so those are the four reasons. I do even want to talk about other things: fitness, longevity, finance, real estate, investing, all that stuff, financial freedom. Obviously, I'm not going to have a big YouTube channel unless I have professional videos and I'm talking directly to the camera. So that might be coming in the future. But for now, I'm going to look into Chinese. And I think, for the reasons I outlined, that might be something worth, because inevitably I think I'm going to want to speak. I just have a lot more Chinese, closer people in my personal situation than Korean, and that's always been the case. So even living in Korea, that didn't really change it. So that's just the reality. So I'm curious if anyone's actually learned Chinese, or if I'm not quite sure if the viewership are all Korean learners. So I'm not, and this video is in no way to tell you, oh, you shouldn't learn it, or it's not good, because everyone has their own reasons, right? So it's kind of a personal decision. I think there's no time wasted at all, and there's absolutely no regret, because I think there's a lot of things to be learned from how to learn a language, and just the fact that I can definitely understand simple Korean conversations in the wild now. So that was still okay. So definitely, guys, let's get it. It's 2 months into the year, and there's a lot of uncertainty. You're hearing a lot of stuff in the economy, but I think the opportunities are awesome. You can really stand out. You can really just really enjoy and have an awesome life. So like I said, kind of this is what I think, and probably it's kind of a final decision. But if I left anything out, or if someone has any thoughts, some people walking by. But this is actually the bottom basement of the mall. If you guys saw my last video that I put up. So thanks for watching, and have a great weekend, and take care.